What is up, YouTube? Moto Noob coming at you live here from Middletown, Delaware. Today we got something special for you. We have a gear review. We are doing a review of the Shoei RF-SR. The RF-SR is an intermediate priced piece of motorcycle gear from Shoei, obviously. I had gotten this particular bike helmet this season to replace my built Techno 2.0 with a Bluetooth built-in. Had a built-in Sena. It served me well for a good couple of years, but you know, as I realized I was riding more, and you know, one of the hindrances and one of the things that I really disliked was putting a helmet on, just from the weight standpoint. I went out and decided to kind of upgrade. The Shoei RF-SR is a full-faced helmet that is designed for upright riding positions. So, you know, sports bikes, you have your head tilted forward a little bit as you're riding, so the vent placement is kind of geared to intake that air into the helmet in that particular riding stance. When you're riding upright, you're a little more upright in terms of your head position, so the vents are kind of built to take in the air and distribute it through the helmet and keep everything nice and cool. So with Shoei, you get the obvious safety benefits. They do have that single construction of the interior shell. It's not going to be you know, trash foam that's inside protecting your head. It's going to be all quality construction. One of the things, and I'm going to compare this to the built Techno 2.0 because it's what I had, it's what I knew. It was kind of nice because the built Techno had a little button you could push down there, and a built-in visor would come down, you know, for tinting, which was all kind of cool. It really seemed neat at the time, but what you don't realize is that the interior of the shell that they had to remove to make that work ultimately creates a safety defect in the event that you're in a crash. So I am much more partial now to these types of helmets that have that full solid construction and ultimately protect your brain a lot better. So enough about that part of the design. I do have my Sena Evo 20 on this thing. It does not come with that, so you can kind of ignore that. It is a DOT and Snell 2015 approved helmet, so it meets and exceeds all riding safety standards in the United States and likely Europe as well. I'm not from Europe, so I'm not quite sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that Snell kind of gives it meets those European ratings. So when I had initially gotten this, I wound up getting the Quest, which is so if you're into street bike riding, you know there's the RF-1100 and the RF-1200, and one's obviously the older model, the 1100, the 1200 is the newer model. The RF-SR is built off of the RF-1200 specification, but you know, built for that upright riding position. The Shoei Quest was built on the 1100 spec, also built for that upright riding position. So I went home and I took my Quest and I put it on. I got an XL because I was an XL in my other helmet. And what I found is when I started going down the highway, right around 70, 80 miles per hour, these helmets are built as such to, when the wind hits it, it actually lifts it up a little bit, which is nice. It lifts some of that weight off the top of your head just through its aerodynamic design, which is kind of nice. But if you have an ill-fitted helmet, I felt it actually start to almost lift up off my head, and it being held on by the chin straps, which is kind of scary going down the road at 80 miles per hour. So I went back to the store. I took back the Quest, and I'm like, you know, the RF-SR is only like $100 more. It's going to last me 5 years. Let me exchange it and get an RF-SR. So that's what I did, and I haven't looked back since. Wearing this helmet feels almost like you have nothing on, and that may seem like an overstatement, but in comparison to that you know, low intermediate range that with that built Techno 2.0, this is probably about 4 to 6 ounces lighter than that helmet. So what does that mean? When I put it on, not only does it feel like it's less bulk on your head, but when you go to do your head checks, it really feels like there's nothing on. So, I mean, just the fatigue on the neck is reduced greatly because of this helmet. Aerodynamic-wise, it is a wonderfully quiet helmet. One of the issues that I had that really made me want to get a different helmet is when I'm talking on my Sena, I couldn't hear myself talk in my old helmet. Just the wind noise was ridiculous. This is such a quiet helmet, and when I'm talking on my Sena, I don't have to yell. Or, you know, before I would talk, I couldn't hear myself talk, but I knew I was talking, and I knew the other person could hear me, but it's just kind of, you know, disconcerting from a, you know, a human experience standpoint. So this, I can talk, and I can talk at a normal volume. I can hear myself inside of the helmet, and the other person can hear me, and it doesn't sound like I'm screaming. So it comes with a clear visor. I have the gold sunburst here, the colored visors, and the RF-SR is nice. It has a lot of different options. The colored mirror visors are about $100 a piece. They have a really cool one that's a chroma tint, so when the sun hits it, it actually starts to tint. That is probably around $150, $160, $70. But what you start off with is the clear visor, and this visor comes with something called pin lock technology. So what does that mean? Well, you see this little insert here. This insert doesn't come with it, but really you have your basic screen here, and it just has these two pins. That's all the pin lock technology is. I love how they brand it, and then they wind up charging you, you know, a little bit extra on the visor, and then this little polymer insert is probably like another $20-$30, but you know, they might have a few extra at the shop, so just ask if they can toss one in the box for you. You never know, it might work. So basically what this is, it is a polymer piece, flexible polymer, that has a little plastic bushing. And what happens is you put it in here, you snap it, you lay it flat, you snap it in there, and it traps air in between, which eliminates fog. Now notice I didn't say reduces fog, it eliminates fog. This will not get foggy at all, which is absolutely awesome if you have 20/20 vision, if you've had LASIK done, whatever. If you have glasses though, you're still kind of SOL, because when you're breathing inside of the face mask, your glasses are going to get foggy, but ultimately this does not fog, so you know, it's one less thing to kind of worry about. I went ahead and invested in the mirror just because I love it. I think it looks cool, especially that color with the black, and you know, I have that pin lock insert in there as well. In terms of ventilation, it is very well ventilated. Even in the cold, I'm able to ride with it, and I don't necessarily feel cold. It vents it properly around the head to the point where I don't feel like I'm cold, but it has really great airflow, so even when I'm out there on the road in the cold, it's still very comfortable to wear. The last little feature that it has is this thing called the City Crack. And what the City Crack is the locking mechanism here for the visor. If you set it down without going all the way, it'll prevent it. It leaves a little bit of a crack here. So if you're in the city, you know, that means if you're sitting at stoplights regularly and your glasses are going to fog up, or if you don't have the pin lock insert, your visor is going to wind up fogging up, you can leave that open, and that'll help a little extra fresh air get in and keep that clear. Otherwise, you can push all the way down, you hear it snap into place, and then you have a good airtight seal when you're riding at high speeds. So all in all, the price point for this is right around $380, $390. I got this one from Cycle Gear, my local cycle Gear up here in Bear, Delaware. The guys are really nice, really accommodating, helpful in trying to find me a helmet that will ride, that will match my upright riding position on a cruiser. So I highly recommend this. If I had to give it a rating, 4.7 out of 5 Noob mobiles. Bang! Why 4.7? Sometimes, and I don't know if this is me, maybe it's because I don't have it up all the way. If I turn my head a certain way, sometimes I'll hear a whistling, but only sometimes, so I think it's that crack. You know me, I'm a cheapskate, so even if they could bring down the cost another 20 or 30 bucks, it would be nice. So that's it for now, guys. Until you know, another 5 years comes down the road and I buy another helmet, this is going to be my helmet of choice. So that's it for now, guys. Take care, keep it shiny side up, and I will see you next time.